One, two, three.
All right, Soft Rex fans, welcome to podcast number 4. And today we have our special guest, my aunt Kathy. She's actually with us from South Korea. So I think over there it's actually 9:30 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. So good morning. How are you doing?
Hello. We're doing good over here on the other side of the world. How are you guys doing?
We're doing
I'm
good.
doing good.
Yeah, for me it's 7:36 my time, so central southeast, and then central time, and then for my dad's East Coast, right? So
Yep,
your time is
8:35,
8:30, 8:35.
8:35, 8:36 right now. So
It's
yeah,
amazing how Zoom really has connected us, right? I think we talk more now than we ever have.
Yep.
man, with this
Technology
technology,
brought us together.
that's right. That's the good thing about technology, I guess. But how was your day, Kathy? What was exciting today for you? Tell us something quickly exciting that happened for you today.
Or
Well,
it's
so
about to
far,
happen.
the exciting thing is that I was blessed to wake up and have another day. So that's pretty much my day so far. So I am
That's
thankful for another day. I think we should always be thankful to wake up. But actually, what was exciting about you guys today, because I mean, you're the ones that actually already gone through pretty much your whole day. Y'all are coming down from all the
So we,
exciting stuff that y'all do.
well, I'm getting started. I still half of the day. 2 a.m. is not here yet.
That's
I got a
right.
long way to
Yeah,
go still.
my dad's the night owl. Ever
Yeah.
since talking to him, it's like pushing 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I still
Well,
haven't taken
I've been thankful for that, because that's what I was telling your dad yesterday. I was like, if he wasn't a night owl, I wouldn't be able to talk to him. So he's one of the ones that I talk to the most, just
Those
because
are
I
the
know he's
time.
up late.
That's what she's saying. That's when she called me for her counseling time. Before her medication. Remember yesterday? She said, I got to take my medication. I just kidding. But anyway, I did have an exciting day today. I went hiking today, about 5 miles, I think, about 5 miles. And a funny story, what I love about when I go hiking, I always try to be positive about things, my time to relax my mind. And so today I was hiking and I crisscrossed path with this guy and, just wave. And then I took a different route to come back around, all right, the Kennesaw Mountain, and he took a different path. And then when I saw him kind of like midway going up, I kind of like said to him, hey, I just saw your brother. And he was going like this, like, my brother. And then he said like, oh, I saw your brother too. Because remember, we saw at the beginning. So anyway, so that was midpoint of the mountain. And then he was telling me, that was his first time. The guy's in shape, younger than me. Said that was his first time and all this other stuff. And I said, I come here pretty much year round. So you're going to see people that come here only in the summer. You're going to see people that are here only in the winter. And then you got people, like myself and stuff, and others that are here year round, rain, snow, whatever. And funny that we were climbing the mountain. This guy that is healthy, he like, oh man, this is pretty challenging. And I'm like, oh, you look in shape. You'll be all right. And I said, you know what? It happens to everybody. I don't care if you're in shape. If you're the first time climbing it, you're going to feel it. And I was like going up and still, catching my breath and stuff. But it was funny and kind of like became friends, believe it or not. When we got to the top of the mountain, normally I like to run. So, and he's a runner. So we start running, and he left me in the dust. But as soon as we got to the bottom of it, we exchanged telephone numbers. And he asked me, he said, are you on this app? And the name of the app is Strava, Strava. Have you ever heard of it?
I think I've heard of that one.
Yeah. So he shared the app with me, and he said pretty much real quickly, I know I'm taking too much time. Pretty quickly, it's an app that whatever he's doing in his life, as far as exercise, you can track him, what he's doing. He can track what I'm doing as far as exercise. And we can either compete or meet up and whatnot. So, so that was a good story there that now became friends in there. And perhaps next time I see him, we hike together. Who knows, But that's what I like about today's day.
It's me.
Yeah. What about you, Ronald? I know you have always something exciting.
Yeah, no. Well, for me, it wasn't the most exciting day, but it was the best day so far in Chicago. We actually hit 70 degrees. So I took the scenic route out of work to come back to the house. And I was like, oh, wait, we got this podcast we got to do, so I got to hurry up and get back. So if you guys hear my stomach growling, it's not the bass in the background, it's my stomach. So
I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Hey, yeah, mine too. I haven't eaten breakfast, so it'll be the bass in the background.
That's kind of funny. You haven't eaten breakfast and we haven't eaten dinner.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So a quick update, just because we know that's something that we always wanted to do, is like give a quick update of where the crypto market is.
Oh.
Today has been a very positive day for Bitcoin specifically. Had a nice big candle, so it actually got to the price of 35,945, and it's still climbing. So it actually just started the new candle, so it ended at it actually hit a high of 54,400, and when it started, it was at 49,121.
You made a good run.
Yeah, that was a really good run. So one thing I was sharing with my dad, I was like, hey, when in doubt, always zoom out. And we looked at like the monthly chart where basically the candles are representing a month. And Bitcoin had basically 6 candles in a row that were green, where every month it closed at a higher price. It's possible that April is the first red candle, which would be pretty natural in Bitcoin's history because it's never done 7 green monthly candles in a row. So we need a little bit of a correction, and we'll get it if it doesn't close at like I think 57,000 or higher. So so a quick update for our Software X community out there on that. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's call. So the reason why we invited Kathy is because she actually viewed, I believe, 2 out of the 3 videos from our podcast so far, and she got super excited. She was texting my dad, and we were like, you know what? Before we continue this conversation, let's invite her to the podcast. Let's have a conversation with someone who's interested in it, has done a little bit of research, heard about it way back in the day, and kind of put it to the side. And that probably represents like 99% of anyone that's going to be looking for this community. Yes.
And you know what, Ronald?
Yeah.
Guess what's so important? You know what's so special about today's day?
Well, I don't know this one.
You don't know this one? Today, guys, for the first time ever, we have our first guest. And we have an international guest. Woo! That's our first guest.
International.
Our first guest in our podcast. So congratulations, Kathy, for being the first guest and international. Many to come. You can continue now, Ron. I'm sorry for cutting you off there.
I mean, I totally forgot everything else I say. I don't know what I'm going to say anymore. No, but no, I know you guys were having a great conversation and pre-podcast yesterday because we wanted to kind of get, what's the agenda, kind of understand what you want to get most out of today's podcast. I know we ended up going pretty deep into it, but I wanted to really give you the floor to ask us questions. Me and my dad pretty much always come from different perspectives, but we really want to open up the floor to you to ask us anything that you want to get you comfortable in this space, because this is the wild, wild west. It doesn't have as much regulation as other markets. And honestly, the floor is yours, Kathy, to ask us whatever you want to ask.
Okay. Yes. Well, like you said, I got excited about watching the 2 podcasts that I've seen so far. And I had a lot of question marks running around in my head. And like you said, I called my brother and be like, I've heard about this Bitcoin before, and read it in financial magazines before as well. And I think maybe about a month ago, I saw it again in the news media. So it's something that I've kind of, every time I've heard it, like on the radio or seen it, it has grabbed my attention. So when y'all did this podcast, I was like, oh my goodness, they're doing this on, on Bitcoins. And I mean, at that time I've always heard Bitcoin. When I talked to my brother, Ronald, I was like, and he would start mentioning crypto. And then I was like, yeah, by the way, Ronnie's talking about cryptos and portfolios. And then you mentioned Dutch coin. I was like, what? I'm like, what is all this stuff? I go, I want to know, but I got a little bit overwhelmed because I was like trying to take some notes, and I was like, my brain went into overdrive, just trying to think about everything. And I know that there were the links, and I appreciate the links. But I guess I'm just one of those person that when I get excited and then I'm trying to do it too fast. And then I was just like, the information was a lot for me. So I kind of just wanted a little bit of more, explanation. Is it something, me investing, my time and money into something, even like I know it's something popular. And I think since this is like something, even though it started a while back, I think it's going to be around for, in the future as well. So if it's something to definitely look into and invest, and I, from what, even being here in South Korea, I hear people, their news media talking about it and how people are investing in it. I think it's here to stay. So I'm just wanting to kind of do something, I guess, for the long run, future wise.
Right.
So that's what the question that I had.
You hit a couple points, right? Like, is it something that you need to invest time and then money to like participate in, right? It's a new asset class. I think the thing that kind of stuck is because it was so new, people didn't really know what problem it was solving. They didn't really know, what's the purpose of Bitcoin, right? All that stuff's kind of been in discovery since it started back in 2009, right? When the first block was minted. I think now, for the most part, the general consensus is that it's an awesome store of value. It's gold 2.0, right? And gold is typically something that, people use to store their wealth and protect their purchasing power. But gold isn't easily tradable, right? You wouldn't safely go outside and hand a brick of gold to transfer wealth to somebody to purchase a good or anything like that, right? You wouldn't have that much gold in your house to save, for example. Once you get to a certain amount, it's like, man, what do I do with all this gold, right? Do I bury it? Do I take it to a safe deposit box? Like, what do I got to do, right? So Bitcoin kind of solves that, and it puts it on the blockchain. And I think throughout, its history, a lot of people have seen a lot of news, like perspectives from mass media, like, oh, this is used for criminal activity. Oh, this is used for, this person laundered money, et cetera, et cetera. Silk Road. I'm not sure if you remember the website that was taken down for selling like narcotics, called Silk Road. So just throughout the history of Bitcoin, it's been a lot of FUD, right? So fear, uncertainty, and doubt thrown out to the general public. So it's caused a lot of people to go, I don't know if I want to learn about that. I think that's just more for criminals, right? But now that it's kind of grown and more people have adopted it, companies are buying it, the interest is probably at its highest point ever. And I don't know that if you want to add to that.
Yeah, you hit it right on target. Something that she needs to know, and obviously we mentioned in Bitcoin because it's considered a not necessarily a digital currency, but more like he said, digital gold. So it's definitely, in my opinion, and again, remember, this is not a professional financial advice, but something that we are doing and kind of educating people just like yourself and many out there that wants to get into this space but had no idea. So now that you know that Bitcoin is considered digital gold, we believe it should be a part of somebody's portfolio, for the long term. So I'm glad that Rano mentioned that. And I think before we talked in previous podcasts that just because Bitcoin might be right now 53,000, 60,000, 40,000, 100,000, that doesn't mean that you have to go buy that. We mentioned that you can buy it in fractions, right? So it still can be part of your portfolio for the long term.
And then the second part of your question was like, how much time do I got to invest, right? I know you're running out in 10 minutes. That's fair. Okay. Yeah, mine says it's running out in 10 minutes, so we're gonna have to go to a commercial break. Okay, so
That's fine, commercial break.
He didn't pay the rent. That will happen when you're a renter and not an owner, but that's for another story.
I didn't pay the Zoom rent fee, the digital rent fee.
That was always good to own.
The other thing that you mentioned was the time spent, right? And like to my dad's point, we're not financial advisors. So, there's tons of strategies that people use to acquire Bitcoin or acquire other cryptos. But one of the ones I would probably recommend for you, especially if your schedule is like, oh, you know what, I don't need to look at these charts. I don't want to be a trader. I don't want to draw these fancy lines on these graphs and go like, oh, this is where it's going to go in the next hour, right? There's something called DCA, which is short for dollar cost averaging. And what that means is, every single time you get paid, if it's every 2 weeks, that you're contributing or allocating a certain amount of that cash into acquiring this asset. And that's something that's common among other assets too. People will dollar cost average or DCA into stocks or into ETFs. That's something I would probably recommend for you, just because, if you're not going to sit there, I don't want you to put, your life savings all at once into it, right? You put little by little as you accumulate money. So that's probably a better strategy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a good question.
What's that called again?
DCA, so dollar cost averaging.
Dollar cost averaging. Okay, because I was taking a little bit of notes.
No, absolutely. I mean, honestly, that's the method even I use, right? Now, I'll kind of like tweak things. So on days that it's going down, okay, I know 2 weeks from now I'm going to add a certain amount. I might, because there's a discount right now, add a little bit more. And then when everything is up, I'm still adding, but I'm adding a little bit less, right? But I'm still on a consistent basis adding to build my portfolio, right?
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
I know you had asked my dad. He was like, I don't know if I should ask this on live because, I don't want to embarrass her, but she was like, what is a portfolio? But honestly,
oh yeah,
no question.
no, yeah, no, I did. I asking when I was saying that, that's when I had question mark, because I was like, I do know there's different types of portfolio. So, in different, areas of life you can have, but definitely I know a little bit, just like in the financing, just because I used to work in a bank, so I kind of just got a little bit of that, but not me actually having a real portfolio. So when when you were talking about your portfolio, and I was like, what is he talking about? So yes, that I have not. I don't have one, so I don't know much about it.
And that's what brings us to the next point. Now you know what Bitcoin is, right? That should be your digital gold. And then Morano probably going to tell you next is the altcoins. That means the other coins that you can invest in. Am I correct? Right?
Right, absolutely. And if you want to jot this down, there's a resource that I don't think we've shared yet in any of the podcasts. There's something called a Blockfolio. So that's BLOCKFOLIO. So Blockfolio.
Blockfolio.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's an app that's free. You can buy crypto stuff on it. I don't do it. I think the fees are kind of high on there. But I use it as a trading journal. So as I buy something, I'll put it on there so that way I can track that price of all my assets combined. And that's basically what a portfolio is, right? You might own a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of, Dogecoin, Cardano, etc., right? There's 9,000 plus coins, right? So as you're buying and you're buying other ones and you're diversifying, you're adding to your portfolio. And that's basically what a portfolio is. It's a group of assets that you've accumulated over time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you touched there, and I just said when you say there's a lot of coins out there, because I'm still learning. I didn't realize that there were. I just thought it was just really one Bitcoin. That was the only one. And then when when my brother, your dad said, the other Dogecoin, I was like, oh, I guess maybe there's two. But then, I know we touched that on our on podcast that no, there's many out there. So that still is very like a wow factor that there's many options out there to.
And that's why we mentioned to you before that, CoinMarketCap is a great source of information where you can find out pretty much the main coins will be listed by 1, 2, 3, 4 by order of performance or by non-performance, but by market cap. And when you are in CoinMarketCap, as we mentioned before, and you click on that specific coin, it will give you a description of who the owner are, and what that coin or that crypto actually does. And that's a good source of information. Plus, it also gives you a chart. By viewing at that chart, it kind of give you an idea of the direction for that coin, whether it's in an uptrend or whether it's in a downtrend. As a basics, nothing too complicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's many coins. My dad actually shared a story on one of the podcasts where a father had asked their son, should I invest in like Tesla or, what should I invest in? And the kid goes, invest in the dog coin, right? Which it was Dogecoin. So, there's tons of crypto. They solve different things. They have different use cases. Some of them don't have use cases, and Doge is one of them. Doge is one of those coins that it was a just for fun coin, right? It was a meme coin. The funny thing is, like a lot of times when people are getting into crypto, they normally look into Bitcoin first, maybe Ethereum or Doge. Those are one of the three that most people will put their money in when they're first getting into the space. But yeah, so there's tons of them. There's little niches in crypto too. So for example, if you have a kid that likes gaming, like there's coins that, as you're doing in-game purchases, they're tracking those and they give you ownership for the purchases that you're doing. And right now in gaming, you don't really have that. When you spend the money, yes, you may have it for that game, but you can't carry it from game to game. You can't sell it to another player. You can't do those things. Crypto solves that problem. You have things like smart contracts that also allow you to do like decentralized finance. So that way you can do peer-to-peer lending, right? And a lot of people think that may be the future, and it could put banks' business models at risk, right? Imagine, actually like having competition, banks having competition now, and it's not, the Chases, the Wells Fargos, the Bank of Americas of the world. It's actual everyone. Right? What's that going to do to the cost of lending when you want to borrow money? Right? It's going to probably bring it down because now you have competition. And then the big thing too that it's really hot right now is the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. And I know you had a lot to say about that because you're like, whoa, I heard about that in Tree Podcast. So before we go into that, let's go into a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and start off with NFTs.
All right.
Sounds good.
See you in a second.
See y'all in a minute.
See ya.
Hello, SolveForX community. Thank you so much for watching our videos, and we really hope you're enjoying and loving this content. There's a couple things I want to point your attention to. One is check out the scammers. Be very careful not to reach out to people on our comment section that are sharing numbers from WhatsApp. I also want to point your attention to the Show More section, where we reveal the timestamps throughout our hour to hour 45 long podcast to save you time and help you get back to where we were at. Check out the links in the description for access to Coinbase, Binance.us, Bittrex, as well as KuCoin. If you're interested in earning interest, we recommend the wallets such as Celsius and BlockFi. They have high reputations and we highly recommend them. We also wanted to point your attention to BlockFi's credit card. Make sure to sign up and get on the waiting list. If crypto hasn't been your thing and you want to go to the traditional markets, check out Robinhood and Webull. We had the links in the description right there for you. taxes is an inevitable thing that you're going to have to deal with. And in crypto, the easiest way to deal with it is using Crypto Tax Trader. And we have the link there for you as well. And you get a discount. As always, we are not financial advisors, and none of the things that's said on this podcast should be taken as such. We want to get the word out on Bitcoin and crypto in general, but this is all for entertainment purposes only. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
All right, well, welcome back. I know we left off right at NFTs, but wait, what's that, Kathy? Is that?
Well, on commercial break, I ran out real quick and bought some Dogecoin.
That's gonna be the new Dogecoin too.
That's right. It's gonna be the special edition.
There you go. Limited edition.
This is how I know Doge isn't going nowhere.
There you go.
Man, I still with Doge. I always think back. I'm like, when I had the choice to buy a lot of it for dirt cheap, I snoozed on that. But I think the big thing is the space is so new, right? There's so much happening in it that we're still really, really early, right? And I know we were talking about NFTs, and you're like, whoa, actually, I know what that is. I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit more about your experience with NFTs.
Yeah, we were actually on vacation. I guess at the beginning of April, our kids' spring break, and over here it's called Jeju Island. It's an island that belongs to South Korea, and it's very beautiful place. A lot of people consider it like the Hawaii in Asia. But while being there, they have it's kind of like almost like an international like radio station, which is crazy, even though that island belongs to South Korea and it's only like an hour flight. That radio station is not here on mainland, but it's an awesome, like, I love the DJ. It is called Adadang Radio. And they also have Adadang News, like we get the news because they're in Seoul, but I guess the radio station is in Jeju. But the DJ, which I guess is kind of like, he does a little bit of everything, and they hit on that for, I think I was in the car for 40 minutes and we got out and they were still talking about how exciting this was and how it was booming here in the art world, and just how some of these art pieces, and some of them are like really small, have gone for so much money just because it has that digital stamp on there. So, and it was just very interesting. I guess it caught our attention a lot because anything with art, we have Ross and Lillian love doing artwork and stuff like that. And I know they're still young, but just to know that my daughter won first place on her drawing for Earth Day, and it's here on our base, like displayed. So, and she didn't even know. They just walked in and it was like, she's like, oh yeah, I wonder if they put my drawing here. And then they were walking around, they saw it, and she's like, oh my God, I won first place. So, that was Lillian.
Lillian. Oh.
Yeah, Lillian.
That's cool.
So she was super excited. And then last year, Rosalind's artwork was actually published. It covered the school yearbook cover, and she won first place in that. So they're just very into drawing and stuff like that.
Now you can do an NFT of that.
That's right.
I know. That's
so I was telling Drew, I'm like, what can I do to get one of these and just see, because you never know. Something that looks very intriguing to me may not look very intriguing to us. But art, I think that's what makes art so much fun. There is people's different expression trying to do a different kind of thing. So
you see my masterpiece right there, right? That's $1 million painting that I drew. I just kidding.
Finger painted.
I know, right?
Home Decor or Walmart. That's where we bought it.
Yeah,
I think on the writing there, I see. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Carlos and Ronnie did that. That's right. I mean, your artwork has gotten improved for sure, Ronnie.
Yeah, I think I'm the least artistic person in our family, though. I do numbers.
You do numbers. Hey, that's a form of art.
It is. That's why I try telling people.
Yeah.
Ronald, quick art is this: a round head, a stick of a body, two little arms with sticks, and two little sticks with legs.
Yeah.
Hey, and that's all the basic that you really need, because there's a lot of people that like those little stick figure people.
Yeah, so, and I can get it to go like.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So if you're interested in NFTs, then you got a couple that are playing in the game, but one is absolutely dominating. So the one that you may want to look into is Ethereum, and that's like so the ticker symbol is ETH. Now you got to be careful because there's two that are closely alike. The ETH is the one that you want. There's something called Ethereum Classic, and that's ETC. And you kind of want to, for the most part, stay away from that one. That one's been hacked before. The protocol's not that great, et cetera, but it was a fork of Ethereum. So in this space, you're having, communities that are choosing, hey, I want to upgrade this. Hey, we should do this. We should change this protocol, right? And unlike our current, money supply, you don't really have a choice. You just get what you get, If they print more money, you just take it, right? And when they print more money, they devalue the people they devalue the money of the people that already have it, right? So in this space here, everyone kind of has a little bit of a voice if you own that crypto. So that's when I would look into Ethereum, because
you want to open
Ethereum
up the market cap. You want to open up the market cap as you're describing those ones.
Yep, I'll go ahead and do that.
The market cap is one of the primary things, so we're going to open it up right now.
All right. So, this is CoinMarketCap. And in episode 3, we went over very, very briefly, but this was the home screen that we went through.
So make sure, Kathy. So make sure you make sure you already subscribe, right? Oh, you subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you hit the like button.
I subscribe.
Do you hit the like button? Make sure you smash the like button.
Yeah.
And so
I like that. I try to like that as much as possible.
That's right.
Yep. And turn on bell notifications, because things happen quickly in this space.
That's right.
But so you'll see here, Bitcoin's number 1. The market cap is 1 trillion, right? So that's huge. And then I think my dad was sharing, like, Doge, the market cap was bigger than a lot of companies that are like well known, right? We can go into that another day, but these market caps is, they're getting bigger and bigger as the space keeps maturing. So Ethereum is right here, and it has a market cap of 290 billion. So if I click on Ethereum, so you see how the system's actually upgrading. They're going to be upgrading it to the Berlin upgrade. And you can get really technical with this stuff, and that goes back to your original question, like, do I need to invest a lot of time into this? And the reality is no. But if you do invest more and more time into it, as I see more people that get into crypto, they become more interested in it, right? So I won't be surprised if you start telling me, like, hey, did you hear about this news? Hey, did you hear about this upgrade? Even before I do, because that's exactly what happened with my dad. I get my news feed from my dad almost now.
I believe it.
Yeah. So if you keep scrolling down into the webpage, once you click on it there, you could get a little bit of the history of the price, right? The price movement. So you could see way back in the day, on February 29, 2016, the price of Ethereum was just $6.35, right? And in 2018, like around January, if I'm not mistaken, January 15th, it hit a high of 1,262. Right, so from $6 to just two years later, it went from $6 to $1,250, right? I mean, that's a huge gain. Now that where crypto gets its like, you know, volatility from is because you will go into like time periods where a lot of people just lose interest, or a lot of people sold a lot of profits that they made, and that's what causes things to go down, right?
Yeah, and then you go into what you notice, bear markets.
And what you notice though is like even when it corrected, let's say I just picked the random day, February 4th, the price is $107, right? But the longer that you stay in the space, the more likely you are in profit. That's the way that history has proven, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to continue to be like that, but that's what history has shown. And nobody has a crystal ball. Not even my dad with two of them in his living room can tell you where it's going to be at, right? And now
she hasn't watched the third video. That's why she didn't have no reaction to it. You need to watch the third one.
Okay.
So right now the price is at 25.09 as of today, right? So you can see how drastically it went up. Now, what people, you know, the first thing that if you're looking at this chart that you may say is like, man, if I buy now, am I buying at the wrong time, right? And to that, I will say, we don't know how high it's going to go, right? For all we know, this point right here is only representing of this point over here, right? So you have a couple people using, you know, different types of analysis tools to kind of predict where the price is going to be at for this bull run. And those prices range all over the place. You will find it for 5,000. You will find it for 20,000, 27,000, 30,000 is what they believe it can go. Because if you do the math from, let's say, my $10 price right here in July 11th of 2016 to what the height of 1,262, that was a lot of multiples, right? So if it multiplies the same way, so 1262 divided by $10, it means it went up 126 times, right? And if we're coming from the lowest point, let's call it over here. We'll just go a random point. We'll go right here. So at $133 times 126, you're looking at a price of 16,700 being the top, right? So people use different tools. No one really knows where it's going to go at, but most people believe that 2,500 is just the beginning, right? Now, to that point, what I would say is, I don't know that. No financial advisor knows that. No one on earth knows where it's going, right? But since I want to participate in the space, maybe I put a little bit at a time, right? So I don't empty the chamber out. I don't just withdraw all the savings and throw it on there. No, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to add $100 a week. Right. And as the price goes down, great. I bought more Ethereum, right? The price goes up, then I bought a little less Ethereum, but I'm still accumulating, right? I think the most important thing is to go from 0 coins to owning a coin, right? And that'll get you more interested in it. The minute you put money involved in something, people's interest goes dramatically up, right? Because now you're bought into the space, right? But yeah, so that's the first thing I would say is the chart. It shows a little bit of history of the chart. And if you go down a little bit, it says, what is Ethereum? And you can click read more. And here it'll give you a brief synopsis of what Ethereum is. And I'll just read like the first little sentence on there. So it says Ethereum is a decentralized open source blockchain system that features its own cryptocurrency, Ether. ETH works as a platform for numerous other cryptocurrencies, as well as for the execution of decentralized smart contracts. So basically, it's a smart contract platform where people are actually building on top of it, kind of like the internet, right? Where you have the internet that's running, and you have all these kind of websites, commerce, you know, government websites, et cetera, built on the internet. That's what this is really doing. This has the most things built on it. That's why it has the biggest market cap. So, questions on this, or does that make sense? Yep. And you can really go into it.
It's a good place to start at least getting your research. And if you notice at the beginning when Ronald click on Ethereum, can you go back to the top of Ethereum, the info? you will see right there on the bottom, it says they give you even the organization, the websites for those companies. You see it?
Ethereum.org.
So
Yeah.
now if you come into a coin that does not have a website, that's kind of like maybe a little of a flag if they don't even have a website. So you have to pay attention to those little factors sometimes, because a lot of times if it doesn't have no website and all the stuff, maybe they're
or
not.
The founders are not, public, right? The people that are building on the chain, they're not saying, hey, this is my name on this thing. Then it's a risk that if people invest money and then they just, they pull the rug, right? And they disappear or they stop building on it and everyone's value goes down, right? So this is like a good starting point on where you want to go to start some research. And you can get there's some technical stuff on here. So it says this white paper, it'll tell you technically how is it actually done, right? And all this stuff is open source, so people can replicate it. And that's what's built this space kind of like to get it to grow so fast, is because they aren't hiding their technology. It's open. So it's really about who's getting the most adoption on it. Yep. So I'll go back to the homepage real quick so that we can go over a couple questions. I think now you're like, okay, I got Bitcoin, Ethereum makes sense. Those are the two most expensive coins by market cap. So just so you know, like just implementing math, that's probably not going to be your biggest gains, right? To become a millionaire in Bitcoin, you would have to invest a lot more money than you may have to in a coin that's smaller, right? Because a coin that's smaller can go up multiple times faster than a coin that's already really expensive, right? But the reason why we always start out with those two is because those have the biggest track record. They're less risky in a risky space, right? So a couple of ones that I would probably recommend would be, Binance Coin is one of the, biggest exchanges next to Coinbase. And they have their own coin. And that coin has things that's being built on it, right? So it has a lot of stuff. It's actually competing a lot with Ethereum right now. But it is centralized. It's ran by that company. That company made it and they distribute it. So they can add more to the supply or add less to the supply. Now, because they are a company, they're also held accountable by the people that own the coin. If they're printing more and more and people start selling it all, then they're going to hurt themselves as well, right? So there's some checks and balances with it, but it's a centralized coin because it's a coin of a cryptocurrency exchange. But this is one that you cannot ignore. They have a lot of stuff built on top of it, and they do a lot of things right. The other one would probably be Cardano. This is a competitor to Ethereum because they offer a smart contract platform to be built on. The founder is one of the founders that started Ethereum, and they had a dispute. They were like, you know what, this Ethereum is not going to be scalable. When a lot of people get on it, the fees are going to get very expensive. This is one of the things that Cardano is trying to solve. So maybe look into that to see if you think, and that one right now is at $1.23, right? So is it possible that it can go up multiple times? Yes, right? But just know that if you go into the history, you're going to see where it started from. I can tell you for me, I forget what month I bought it, but my first purchase was like 6 cents, right? And it's just been going up from there. But I still bought some at like $1.10, you know. During these last couple of days when it corrected, I was able to get some around a low dip. So I'm still buying it even though it's up that high. I know in pre-podcast you mentioned how to earn like a little bit of passive income. This might go to your investment strategy. Maybe you don't want to buy, hold, and trade when it's high, or sell when it's high, buy again when it's low. Maybe you don't want to do all that. You just want to earn passive income. Cardano on average pays its people 5% for holding the crypto. 5% is awesome. What's your bank paying you now? Right?
Yeah.
Actually, what is the bank paying in South Korea?
It's very sad what they pay us now.
Yeah, in South Korea as well, or?
Well, yes, I think. Well, South Korea, the interest rates right now are very low. I mean, they're from what I was telling you earlier about when we were talking about the whole rental, I think the like if you went and put 40,000, you got a high interest. Now those interest rates are low just because they're trying to bring down the interest rate in general all across the board to give people better rates, even like people that are wanting to get loans, car loans, house loans, or business loans. So it seems like when they try to do that, they just bring everything down across the board in general. So yes, right now, I think it's like if you just go put a big chunk, let's say like 40,000 in the bank and want, trying to get interest off that, it's still considered low from what they, like I said, I have a friend that has a couple of houses that she rents out. And she was telling me that the interest rates are just very low when she gets those big chunks of money to put in the bank. Like 2 years ago, you would see a bigger return on that. But I guess last year they started changing some of those interest rates just to try to help boost. I don't know how they boost the economy doing that. I'm not really sure, but just to give a fair chance to everyone. So they just get it across the board.
And those are topics that, me and my father, we're going to discuss too, right? Because it is not just crypto. It's just right now, if you're not in it, like it's almost like you have to have some kind of allocation into it, right? Whether it's 1% of your net worth, whether it's 5, whether you're like me and it's like 80, right? But like, whatever is going to get you comfortable with it, but not being in the space is why we're talking about it, right? But don't get me wrong, we're going to talk about why, why would countries try to lower their interest rate, right? How does that stimulate the economy? How does that get people to borrow money and pay things and get the economy moving? Because the economy goes stagnant, it's the worst thing that can happen, right? If the economy goes stagnant. So, those are topics that we're going to touch as well throughout the podcast. But yeah, Cardano also focuses a lot in Africa. They want to help bank the unbanked. In crypto, that's one of the things that you're solving is you don't need a middleman to transfer value across to anybody. So if I want to buy something from you or I want to send you money for whatever reason, right now we would be relying on many middlemen to get that transfer to happen. Where in crypto, it's between you and me. And the only thing in the middle is the blockchain, not a centralized government, company, or etc. Right? And even though there are fees for us to transfer the wealth, if you own the crypto, that's where the staking rewards are coming from. That's where the 5% is coming from. And of course, as more and more people get on it, the interest rate's probably going to go down a little bit because a lot of people are on the network now, right? So the reward isn't going to be as high. But right now, it's been averaging about 5%. So this is one I would really look into because the founder is well known. He's not running away anywhere without taking a huge hit to his reputation. So it's a little bit safer, especially in this kind of space. Dogecoin, it's hard for me to recommend that with seriousness, but I would tell you this. It goes back to what I said earlier in this podcast. There's normally 3 choices for people who are getting into crypto without any guidance, right? They're just going off social media. They're just going off like what's hot. Dogecoin is one of those that you can't ignore because people do buy it, right? So not having some kind of Doge, to me, it's like, if I had a lot more money to invest, I would want to put something in it, right? If you're dealing with only $1,000, then you have to be a little bit more concentrate in what you want to choose. But it wouldn't be at the top of my list, in my personal opinion. And I think, with Doge, it wouldn't be at the top of my list. And I can give you a couple things, but
why not? It's at 2.683.
Yep. 26 cents. So, it's only 26 cents.
So what would it hurt to buy a little bit?
So I'm glad you brought this up because with the 26 cents, it's not always about the price. It's also about the circulating supply, right? Yeah. And how much is the max supply? And I'm going to scroll up to the top so we can see the names of the columns. And here you'll see circulating supply. And this is going to tell you how much coins is in circulation, how many coins are being traded, right? How many coins has already been minted or made. And you'll see Doge, look how big that number is, right? So there's a lot of coins. And then not only that, with Doge, there's a lot more coins being made as well all the time. If I'm not mistaken, it's almost like 10,000 coins being added to the supply every day, right? That's the first reason, just the supply isn't as constrained as Bitcoin.
But, and how long has that one been around?
So we can actually go in here. And the other reason why this is loading is that there's 12 wallets that own like 40% of the supply.
Okay.
So it's really centralized. So let's say us three owns 40% of the whole currency. Everyone else getting in is at risk of us just selling when it hits a certain price. And that would drive the value down. Now, I would argue that's still temporary, but when you have that much concentration and I have these many choices, why would I put a lot of money there, right?
Yeah.
It also has its, website, because this was actually created by two people from Google, again, as a joke, and they were just, playing with the technology. And as you can see, it's definitely a hype train. But yeah, so
well, it looked like it started taking off and recently.
Ron, can you zoom in? Can you zoom in a little bit by moving the bar below it, the chart? You see it? Can you zoom in just a little bit closer? That way, at least with more like in 1 year, at least 1 year time frame.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, but real quick, so you asked him when we started, when Doge started. It was December 2013.
Wow, okay.
Yep. So it was new, but like I said, it was an experience. It's old, but it was
it was just something. Like you said, it was kind of like just playing around kind of thing that they made it.
Right.
It ain't no joke no more.
Yep, it's not. It's really not. So I just zoomed in for a year, or since January 2020, and in January 1st, 2020, the price was 0.002. Right. So I mean that's huge. At the height of it, it hit 40. I could have swore on my chart it hit 45 cents. This right here with CoinMarketCap, what it does, it takes the aggregate price of all the exchanges, right? So for you to buy crypto and from an exchange, that exchange has to own that crypto, and they're trading it with you.
45 was the high that I got on Binance.
On Binance, right? So Binance's price, Binance's price spiked up to 45 cents on one of those days, right? So let's just call it 36 cents here, because that was about 36 cents was the average price across all platforms for this asset. So 36 cents divided by the 0.002, your money would have multiplied 180 times. So if you put $1,000 on there, you would have made 180,000. Right.
That's pretty cool.
That's really, hey, I was busy too until I got the crypto. Then I became very free with my time. So it's so this is where you can go to see that, and it'll tell you about it, what is Doge, etc. Even this browser that I'm using, I'm sure you guys haven't seen it before. It's called the Brave browser. It's actually a crypto on here. So I'm going to scroll down because I believe it's in the top. Should be around the top 20, 30. And like I said, and I can in another video, we can kind of go a little bit more in depth in our portfolio, like which ones we own. And it just doesn't show up soon. I'll search for it. So I'll show you how to search for it. So if you have a crypto that you heard from someone, you can go to the top right over here and actually search for the crypto. So you can do.
So I can search over here where it says coinmarketgap.com over here. Okay, I see that.
Yep. Yeah, where I'm at.
Okay.
I'm waiting for this thing to load. Let me move us over here real quick.
So that's the browser that you were talking about, Ronnie?
Yep. Yeah, so this browser actually pays me in crypto. So basically, as I'm choosing ads, and I guess this site hasn't fully loaded yet. So let me get this going. But yeah, so for me, I actually use Brave browser, which because I opted in to see advertisements, I get paid per advertisement that I see. Now it's not life-changing money, but
No, I know.
because
What browser you were talking about? You were
Brave,
saying Brave,
yep,
like
Brave
the Atlanta
browser.
Braves?
Yep,
Okay.
Atlanta Braves.
Still
Brave
remember
browser.
a team,
Hey,
America's
I
team.
still remember the good old Braves.
And then here, so I got it now. So it says, so the name is Basic Attention Token. That's the name of the crypto that this browser uses. So because I use it to search on the internet, and it gives me advertisements every now and then because I chose to see 5 per hour. I could choose to see 0, and it doesn't. Well, it won't show me any advertisements, but I want to see the advertisements because I want to earn this crypto. I've been using it for a year and a half, and I think I've gotten paid up almost $100 in it.
Yeah.
So
No, that's pretty.
yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Because I know our we call it maybe another commercial break be coming up soon, but that's definitely. I know that this area, the coin market gap, has all the different kind of currencies that they I guess that crypto has. Is there any other place where I can go into, like, because I like the fact that you said that there's some companies that they like for you to hold on to the coin and not to sell it. And I think that's something interesting to me, that
Right.
they don't want people just like buying, selling. They want you to actually hold on to it.
Yeah, so you're interested in learning a little bit about those?
Yes.
So I'll give you a couple.
Okay.
So Cardano is one, which is ADA.
Okay.
And just full disclosure, that's my biggest holding. So by all means, if I'm talking about it a lot, I mean, because I own it. I also DOT, which I also own. I don't own a lot, but I do own a good bit. But DOT is a good one too. It has a lot being built on it, but DOT will pay you as well in staking. VeChain, so VET, that one will only, now the other two, so DOT pays me twice a week. Cardano pays me 5 times every 5 days. So 5 or 6 times a month. VeChain pays me once a month on the 14th or 15th. Depends where the day falls.
Now, Cardano pays you because you have a stake though, right?
Right. And that's a whole nother thing, like how to stake some of these. It depends because they're different protocols. So how to stake them is a little different. I like VeChain and DOT because they're really easy to stake. You can literally leave it on the platform and it's going to pay you. Right. So I'm staking VeChain on Binance, and they pay me in something called VTHO, VTHO. And that's how I earn the rewards for that. The other ones pay me in the same coin. So, but with DOT, I can leave it on the exchange and it pays me 12%. Let's see. Tron is one that pays in staking as well. But there's many ways to earn staking or passive income with Tron. I keep it on the hardware wallet. And I don't remember which podcast it was where I actually showed 2 wallets that I had.
You might have been number 2, I think.
Yeah, I think it was number 2.
Number 2 or 3. We got so many podcasts, we losing track, man.
No, number 2. It was number 2. Now, so when it comes to, I think a big common question people have for me is security. Like, how do I secure this stuff, right? I think for the most part, leaving crypto on exchanges is fine until you get to a certain amount. And that certain amount maybe depends based off your tolerance, right? do you trust yourself more or do you trust the exchange more? Right. And that may be a question that the answer evolves in time. Right. Now I trust myself a lot more than I trust the exchanges. But in the beginning, I trusted the exchanges a lot more. Right. Because it's their reputation on the line. Right. With me now, I'm like, okay, I want the freedom to say I actually own this crypto. No one can take it away from me. No one can stop me from getting it. I own it, right? And that's a podcast all in itself, like security of this space, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I think those were a few to give you a few that's on there, and you can always Google like proof of stake. So the term is proof of stake crypto, and you'll get a list of ones on this, so that way you're not getting just the ones that I have a stake in.
Now, one that I have that I like, Kathy, is also Zilliqa.
Oh yeah, Zilliqa is a huge one. Yeah.
Yes, Zilliqa is a good price too if you are trying. If you're starting in this space, right now it's only at 16 cents. And like I said, somebody that is starting brand new, obviously you don't go all out, but at least starting small.
Is that it right there?
A small portfolio, so you can say, "Hey, I have a portfolio."
Yeah. That's right.
I have a portfolio now.
And you see Engine Coins up here. That was the gaming one that I had mentioned. I think in pre podcast. So Engine. Now this one is not staking. And some of them, if you put it on certain wallets, they'll pay you an interest. Now, just like in even in our traditional markets, right? When banks pay you an interest, they're paying you an interest for a reason. They have to go make money with that money to pay you an interest.
Yeah.
Right? It's no different here. So when you earning interest, you're earning staking. Staking is different. When you're earning interest for something, then someone is lending that money out. They have to make money to pay you money, right? Or pay you in crypto. So just keep that in mind. There's wallets such as like Celsius. We put that in the link in the description, where if you own Bitcoin, I have some of my Bitcoin earning interest for me, and the interest is 6% for up to the first Bitcoin. After that, it drops down a little bit. But I don't give them all my Bitcoin just because I don't want them to have access to something that valuable and all of it, right? So I keep at least a big portion of it locked away. And it doesn't earn me interest. It's like gold just sitting there, right? But I do have some on those wallets that pay me interest. So Zilliqa is on here. Zilliqa right now is paying 14% on my money. And that's been the one I've been accumulating more lately.
Now, you mean 14% in a specific wallet or just on Binance? So
Zilliqa, and you know what? It might be a good idea is to make individual videos too. I know a lot of YouTubers do that, but maybe they're not going to do it the way we do it, right? And what we can show is like, okay, how are we earning the interest? So with Zilliqa, I have a wallet that's mobile based. And it's called Moonlit. And that one is where it's paying me the 14%. And that's Moonlit, MOONLET. And I would say that's probably crypto 202, right? Once you acquire it, okay, how can I make it work for me? Right. I like Zilliqa too because it pays me
first
daily.
I think is like, baby steps right now. That's pretty much what you're doing. If you're beginner, baby steps. I'm in that same stage pretty much. I just started in February. First, you want to feel comfortable with what's going on. You want to feel a little bit of pain when you see the fluctuations going up and down, right?
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing that, because, I like to be cautious. So I'm not going to do like some sort of head dive, but I guess want to get my feet wet to see how everything works and and go from there. I think the first step is, like getting started and then seeing all these different coins that are out there. But definitely, I think this is definitely a good first step to moving in the right direction for me.
And if you watch some of the videos and you go back, I think in some of them we mentioned, for example, a couple of websites that are related to crypto, like coindesk.com, for example, are good website because you want to eventually, just like you read the news, eventually you want to keep up what's going on, spend about 30 minutes just reading what's going on. So coindesk.com is a good one for that, as far as what's going on in the industry is concerned. And then what we mentioned in some of those podcasts before, also understanding the markets where we are. Currently we are in a bull market, and so it's good to have an idea of what is going on. We're in a bull market. Are we getting near the end of the bull market? Are we starting the bear market now? So that gives you an idea sooner or later how you want to deal with your portfolio. Because, for example, at one point my portfolio was at 60%. So I easily could have said, you know what, 60%, I can cash in right now, right? Why not 60%? But because I'm here knowing that I'm here for the bull run, right? It's supposed to be in a bull run period. It does get a little bit scary when we had that dip a couple of days ago or weeks ago. And but when talking to Ronald, because he understands the market a little bit better than I do, right? I just came in the space, then to hold back, to let things go first, right? It goes through a big dip. We had a big dip. And right now it's going up again for today. Now, tomorrow, who knows what's going to happen? But at least when you understand the whole picture, you are able to plan better. But eventually you will have to learn sooner or later, little by little, what the market, what stage of the market are we in, to make a decision for yourself whether you decide to sell some, your portfolio. Just like Ronald said before, you want to take a little bit of profit too, right? You don't want to go all the way up here. Right. And then it goes all the way south, and then you wait 10 years, right? I mean, I'm just giving you a quick example. That's not exactly the way to look at it, but just as a quick view.
Right.
Now, if it goes all the way down, if it went all the way down and you're still holding on to it and it shoots back up, what happens then?
So that's important. That's an important concept. Before I answer that, I would recommend for most people to not go past the 100th coin. Once you go past the 100th coin, you're going into more and more risky spaces, right? Where things can be manipulated by a very low number of people. So that's another rule of thumb. I encourage you to explore those things. You may acquire the graph. The graph is awesome. I don't own any of it, just because I don't have unlimited funds to own all of it, right? But that's the rule of thumb. Don't go past the 100th one.
What do you mean by 100?
The ranking.
Okay.
Yep. Once you go past the ranking, once you go past the 100th coin, you are going into more murky waters. There is diamonds in there, for sure, diamonds in the rough, but now you're playing in the space where it's like, okay, we don't know if these are real projects or what's happening, right? You had asked me, what was your question again? Right before that one, rule of thumb.
Oh, about like when Ronald was saying that you don't want to go up here and then get down here. Now, if you still if you still want to hold on to your coin during the good and the bad, I mean, what happens, like if your coin keeps growing, and then it comes down, and then a month or two later it goes back up. Is that like still safe, or you lose everything?
Yeah.
That's a little confusing to me.
I want to introduce you to a term in crypto. It's called HODL. HODL. And that stands for hold on to dear life. And the way that actually came up was in a crypto forum a long time ago. It was a typo, right? It was like hold on, but the guy wrote HODL and it stuck, right?
It stuck.
And the reason why that's there is because, yes, the dips can be just as painful as the increases. But the important thing to remember is you don't lose money until you sell. Just like you don't make money until you sell, right?
Okay.
So on paper, you can be a millionaire, but you're on paper a millionaire, right? Just so it also works in reverse, right? You could be down $10,000, okay, you're down $10,000. You haven't lost $10,000, right? So I think that's an important distinction that I think people need to realize, is that on paper you're one thing. I know in one of the podcasts I shared, like my one of my assets was like 93,000, and then with all this blood in the water, it went down to like 70 something. Well, before today, so yesterday, I think it hit a low of like $63 or 63,000, right? And then today it's climbing back up. So that's what I mean by holding on for dear. I mean, it was a shift of $30,000 just like that, right?
Mhm.
But because I'm like, you know what? I believe in this coin. I believe in what it's doing. This coin in particular is a supply chain coin. So I believe people will track it, use it to track their merchandise. And let's say you're buying a chicken. You're like, I want to know where this chicken came from. What's the process, right? What farm did it go through? There's people that care about that. They care about that with wine. They might care about that with certain collector's items like shoes, maybe. So I'm invested in that space because I know it's a niche, but it might be a big one that pays off, right? But I will write it down, up and down, right? So that's where that term comes in. But it's important to realize you haven't lost money until you sold it at a loss.
Okay.
But yeah, at the end,
That sounds
you have
good.
to. Now, obviously, you are married, so you have to talk to your husband, and you have to, at the end, come up with the best strategy for yourself.
That sounds like when we're in the 1940s. You saying I have to talk to my husband. Yes, for future women that are out there, that is not true.
Right.
You can just
relationship advice.
Yeah, we discussed, but it's not asking permission. Just to make it clear.
What I meant by that was, if you have a joint account. Now, what I meant by that was, obviously, you start your own account. By all means, if that's your, if you have your own personal account, you do whatever you want. But I'm just saying, if you are using the money that is both parties, then obviously, in my opinion.
There you go. Be careful with your words.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming. My assumption was that you guys are doing this together. Like, if you do it on your own, of course, by all means.
Yeah.
You do as
well,
you please.
Yeah. For the women out there, that does listen to this. Yes, I have mentioned it to him, but I'm the one more interested in it. He's still kind of like sitting on the fence. So. I'm trying. There's, I guess, a little Greek saying, the man is the head of the household, but the woman is the neck. So we control the head. So, but it's just something that I'm more interested in that he is. And I don't. My thing is, some people it takes a while to decide. Longer. I mean, I don't know how long it might have taken you to convince Lisette to do this. Some people are more, are a little bit more cautious, because I told you that he's unfortunately some of his friendships, and not with crypto, just regular stock market stuff, didn't experience some stuff. But I told him, there's a lot of people out there, I think it's just doing your homework and your research. And I think that's what I'm doing right now, is trying to do my homework and my research. Exactly. And you guys are helping me out with this. So I guess I'm the one right now trying to get everything like established and trying to do stuff. And I would like for him to do stuff, because he's I think sometimes it's nice to get, two perspective into it. So I guess I'm right now the one is trying to, come here, honey, come and look at this. I think I don't want to, I heard about it when it first started. I don't want to sit too long, keep waiting, and we're just waiting, and then we end up losing a lot of opportunities. So
when I'm in a relationship, when you're married in a relationship, it's a 50-50. When I'm in a 50-50, sometimes, like right now in the crypto space, you look like you're more like in the 90 and he's at 10%. You know what I mean? Meaning you're more eager to move forward and he's not. So I didn't mean it in a bad way, but I meant it pretty much if you were in that team already, if you're already that team, as a team, you have to make sure you move forward together, because a lot of times, the reason a lot of times marriages or relationships have issues later on is when two two parties are doing two different things, especially in the financial. That can be disastrous in the financial. And so
I
that's
agree.
for another podcast.
Yeah.
But that's what I kind of like meant. Now, in this case, since you're the only
And
one
that's
using
his
your
podcast when he's giving out marriage advice.
That's right. I've been married 31 years, by the way. But 31 years, of course, it's tough.
I'm halfway there, 15.
15. You're not going to catch up to me right now, but who knows? You never know, right? You can always easily catch up.
That's
But anyway,
right.
so that's a different, very interesting topic. We might have you as a guest for that one.
No comment for me.
But
No comment on that one.
Yeah, we might have you as a guest. But the important point I was making, for example, regardless whether you doing it by yourself or with somebody else, is that you alone or your team alone make a decision whether you reach a point of 60%, regardless that's the top or the bottom, right? Whatever you hear the news out there, whatever my recommendation is, whatever Ronald's recommendation is, at the end you will have to make a decision and say, you know what, 60%, do I let it go? 100%, do I let it go? Or Ronald, for example, in one of those packets, if you listen, he says, sell some, take some profit, but don't take all because you don't know where the top is, right? It might keep going up.
Yeah.
The same thing, if you know already the rumors is the bear market is coming and things like the economy, what do? You have to make a decision what to do with that portfolio that you build. Do you stay there for 10, 20 years? Like for my personal opinion, for me, as of today, and I could change my mind tomorrow, for Bitcoin itself, my goal is to continue to hold regardless where it goes all the way to $25,000. Because I'm really holding it for the long term. Right.
Yeah, for me, I actually believe that Bitcoin has a chance to be the world's store of value. No, I believe there's a future where no one's trading yellow chunks of metal that's only valuable because you can put in some cell phone parts. Right. So I think the 3,000 or 5,000 year history of gold being a store of value is about to die. Right. Because kids don't care about that. Our future leaders don't care about that. You know, on average, people my age don't care about gold. It's not easily accessible either. Right. So for me,
so if
Bitcoin,
you got gold, if you have any gold, make sure you give it to me. You'll live in all that stuff.
I would have sold it and bought Bitcoin anyway.
But forget about
it. There you go.
But yeah, so to me, you know, you always want to have your investment thesis, right? Like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. And there's some other coins where it's really short term. It's literally like, you know, maybe the end of this year, and I'm going to sell most of it, and then, you know, put it into other things that I believe more in, right? So it just depends, right? Like why you're getting into space. And that's why I normally like spending more time into that. But I know it's like the excitement of like, let me buy the Microsoft when it was little. Let me buy Apple before it blew up. You know, let me buy Facebook before, you know, 3 people became friends on there, right? And that's really where we're at in this space right now. You know,
and then remember, this is our personal opinions also, you know, our personal opinions. Yeah. There are no recommendations or anything, no financial advice. We are sharing with you an idea of how I do mine. Ronald does, he's different than me, for example. But we're both trying to learn from each other. And from there, we pull what is best, you know, for you and your family. Or just for you in your case, since you're not counting on the other half. So, right? Because women powered, and then you chose your thing.
Women empowerment.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a beautiful thing.
Forget about that guy. Forget about that guy. You're running with that Bitcoin and that Dogecoin. That Dogecoin. But no, so anyway, so that's the deal, what we're trying to say. Because, you know, eventually you have to make that decision whether you're going to stay with all your coins through the bear market or whether you decide to take some profits and move forward. Imagine if you would have sold at 100% profit and you pull it all out and you just wait for another year with that money sitting somewhere else. That is another example. It doesn't mean that I am right. And then you wait for the bear market to everything to start crashing. And as soon as you see the crashing really crash, where everything is really, really low, then the money that you already saved, right, from the initial investment, then you can start buying again. So there are different strategies that you can use. Ronald obviously gave you one from the very beginning with the dollar cost averaging. That if you had no idea what to do, obviously,
And I did that. So I knew about Bitcoin like mid 2017. So my dad actually knew about it before me. But when I knew about it, I was like, I'm just going to focus on my laundromat business. Right. And then when I saw that what happened in COVID and the prices hit, like I forgot about it for a long time. But when COVID hit and I had all this free time, I was like, okay, I have no business no more because I sold it 10 days before COVID hit the US. So I got really, really lucky financially from that, right? So that was not skill, that was luck. But yes, I sold the thing, and then I would literally go, okay, what am I gonna do with all my time? Because now I'm gonna travel the world, I guess. And then COVID hit, and I can't. So then I was like, I forgot about crypto, and I looked at it, and the prices were like, pre 2017 low, and that's when I went hard, right? So it was a long term thing, right? But I do believe that you will get to a point where the lows aren't as low as they used to be, right? So that's why you never go all in, because you don't know where the top is, and you also don't sell everything because you don't know how low it's going to go to. The other thing is, too, an important concept that I want people to walk away with is don't invest money you're not willing to lose, right? So all the money that my dad may have, I may have, you may eventually have, I wouldn't invest more than I'm willing to lose. When I say that, I really mean that. Like if my portfolio right now got cut in half, it doesn't change my life fundamentally. So it's the same thing with whatever you're going to invest in. And that's why you ease your way in, just so that you build more and more confidence, because that's one way to lose money, is to sell when it goes down. The other way is to, be negligent with how you're transferring money and you send it to the wrong wallet. Let's say you send money to me by accident or some random person, you're at their mercy to give it back to you, So you have to be careful with how you transfer money. So that's why right. Well, no, even when you're transferring between, the exchange to a wallet to earn interest, right? So you want to be careful with those things. And that's why I said that's crypto 2.0 or 202, because once you take it off exchange, now you're really experiencing the power of crypto. Because when you buy stocks, it takes a mission to move it from that ownership from one brokerage to another brokerage. In crypto, it's done in seconds with no permission. So, but yeah, how are we doing on
another
time?
podcast there, Ronnie.
Do we answer your question pretty much? A little bit anyway,
yes.
Somewhat.
No, you did. Y'all, yes, I did, and I took lots of notes too. So
and trust us. And like trust us. Once that you are in it, and you see profits, a lot of times you might have the tendency. I'm going to say right now, or should I keep it and whatnot? There's always going to have those fears because you're just starting, and that's what we say early. When you're coming into this space, always do it with money that you can afford to lose if you're there for a long term. Don't just sell your dogs, for example. I mean, my recommendation would be to make some money, but anyways. But you know what I mean in that sense, right? Hopefully, at least you get in the basic to get you started and whatnot. Doing the research by the website that we just gave you, and already like
trade a physical dog for a digital dog.
Yeah, making it into digital, making it into NFT. You have it forever.
That's right. I'll take a picture of him, put a NFT on it. Let's see how much I can make.
So now you have at least some sort of basic portfolio that we gave you, right? Those are not recommendations, just an idea that you can go research. We're not saying go buy it, but you have to make your own choice out there. We gave you the websites pretty much. I guess, Ron, you want to go through at least where to buy it, how to buy it, because I know she has an appointment to go to here shortly, right?
Yeah. How are we? How are we doing on time?
I can give you 3 more minutes, and I have to
step
out.
So manicure, facial, or what? Okay, I just want to make sure if we can cancel your manicure appointment.
I don't think. No, that's important. If I had it.
Okay, so in the 3 minutes that we got left, I'm going to go to our YouTube channel, so Solve for X Podcast, and then if you go down to the Show More section, here, even though it's a lot of information on there, I do think it's important for, especially like the community that we're trying to target, is people that's not in crypto already. The people that are already in crypto, they already have their 100 of channels that they watch on a daily basis.
And Ronnie,
but
was
here,
this the, I'm sorry, was this the, I didn't catch, was that the first episode or the
this is
first one
all
or
the
the second?
episodes. Any
Okay,
any
okay,
episode,
so,
yeah,
okay,
any and
okay,
every
good,
episode is
okay.
always gonna have these links. Yep.
Except for the little
So
clips that I do, except for the little clips.
Okay.
right,
And by
right,
the
right.
way, look to your right. By the way, look to your right. There's me right there, number 5. You see him? Look, there's my clip right there, Kathy. You see it?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right there. Look, I'm famous YouTuber. Woo!
You
His,
go.
his little videos are giving the podcast the run for the 20.
That's right.
All right.
Making them
So
work harder.
yes, I wrote down a little bit about, why each one, right? So if you want, the easiest one, most Robinhood like, Coinbase is there, right? It's a good one to start out, to be honest with you. It really is. As much as I don't really care for, like paying a high amount of fees or whatever, I know the ease of it outweighs, like the little bit of dollars that you're going to save, right? But Coinbase is a good place where most people start. So that's on there. And a lot of these have sign up bonuses too. So depending how much money you put in, you'll earn a sign up bonus, as well as they would reward us too if you click on our link. So Binance.us, this one is good as well. Now they have a international Binance one as well. So it would just be Binance.com versus Binance.us. Yeah, Bittrex, KuCoin. So these are the 4 exchanges that I use on a regular basis. I have other ones, but they're ones that I do not keep assets on. When I buy it, I'm moving it immediately because they may get hacked. That people might run away from it, like the story that we shared on the last podcast that my dad shared. So
Turkey from Turkey.
Yeah. Yep. So here is a little description of Celsius Wallet. This one is the one that pays me the 6% on Bitcoin, 5% on Ethereum. So I actually have a good bit of ETH in there, and that one's paying me interest on the Ethereum. And it pays me on a couple other ones too. So Celsius is one I really recommend. I like the CEO this actually is like 3rd unicorn business or something like that. So has a lot on the line for reputation. BlockFi is very popular. So those are 2 ones that you can earn interest in that are easy to use. They're not for like your Zilliqa, your Cardano. They're not for that necessarily, but it's for like the main one.
On your own personal opinion, Ronald, let's say like Kathy, not that we recommend that she had to do her own little research, but if you stand brand new, you want to at least get your feet in the water. Out of all those that we have there, which one you think perhaps might be the one to get your feet wet?
To buy crypto?
Right.
It's Coinbase. I mean, it is. But if you go on Binance, there's a learning curve to it. Like how to place the trade, what's a limit order versus a market order, all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit of a learning curve. It's doable. It's not hard, but there is a learning curve. The other one is just so easy. So
Coinbase and probably the number one that you had there would be probably one of the most basic. Kind of like you said, like Robinhood. I got Robinhood. I got Robinhood, Charles Schwab for regular stocks, and Robinhood beats Charles Schwab in my opinion as far as the ease of doing business.
Right. I mean, this is literally an order of ease of use, and how I recommend it for someone who's new. But yeah, you're gonna be limited in which coins you can buy on Coinbase. They don't have a huge, crazy selection, but what you're making up for is in a safe platform that's easy to use.
So you pretty much click on the link. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the last thing I would say, and this doesn't apply to you unless you start selling cryptos. So you're buying it, you're selling it, you're flipping it, you're moving it from one exchange to another exchange. Then you're going to want to use some tax software. This is the one that I use. So the thing that's different with crypto versus stocks is when you buy and sell a stock, you're doing it all on the same platform, right? You're doing it all within Robinhood, or all within TD Ameritrade, or whoever you're using. So when they give you the tax form, it's accurate. In crypto, because you can move it, you can buy it and then transfer it to another exchange, or transfer it to a wallet and then transfer it to somewhere else. Their document that they give you is not going to be accurate. unless you kept everything on that same platform the whole time from buy to
Well, you
sell.
mean accurate? You mean it is accurate in the sense that you bought it, let's say, from Binance, so they show how you bought it here. That's it.
That's
But
it.
they don't know
It's
whether
incomplete.
Mm.
It's incomplete.
That sounds
they
like
don't know
another
what
podcast for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason it's important to know
Around
that now
tax
because
season.
yeah, the reason it's
Right.
important to know that because honestly, I wasn't even thinking of that because, like he said, you know, if I have my Charles Schwab account and I bought stock there and I sold it, they're going to show me something that say, hey, you bought and sold.
Right.
But on this way, because you might transfer into a wallet or to another exchange, it's definitely going to be different. That's what
Right.
you're saying, right? Pretty much.
Right. So this doesn't apply to you until you start selling, transferring,
Yeah.
all that
No, I
kind
know.
of stuff.
Yeah. I know. I'm not going to focus on that because that's going to be a little bit too much right now. But that's definitely something for a future reference. Important to know.
Yeah. And then when you go to Coinbase, this is what it looks like. So it thanks you because you were invited by us. You go to the right, click get started, and then you start jotting down first, last name, email, and you just go through the prompts. It's pretty seamless. In the future, we'll probably have actual tutorials for each one of our links. So that way people have, know how to use it. But this one in particular is pretty easy to do. Don't be surprised if you need to scan in a picture of your ID. Don't be surprised if you need to take a picture of your face. If you need to send in a utility bill. Those things are important because these are regulated exchanges. So they have to comply with something called KYC, which is know your customer. So these are things that your bank is already doing for you. But sometimes people get like, wait, why are they asking me for this? This is crypto. But you're buying it from a regulated exchange. So that's why you need to supply those information.
Yeah, if they didn't ask you for your social security or your home address, or they didn't ask you for none of that stuff, definitely you need to be careful.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Unless you had some lingering questions that you had, no?
Not at this moment.
Awesome. How do you feel? Did this podcast really help you with getting more comfortable?
Yes, it did. It did help answer a lot of questions. So I have less floating around in my head, but it also gave me new ones. So, but I won't. Yeah, I think I'll save those for another day.
Yeah, it is.
But I know, like I wrote, like I have my notes that I wrote down, and I will, when I come back home later, I'll sit down and read through some of those little links that you have on your episodes. To get a little, like I said, I know right now, like in the homework and research phase. So, but I'm excited to get my feet wet and to see how everything goes. And maybe one day down the future, we can analyze my beginning to some of my adventures that I've had investing, I guess.
There you go.
That sounds good. One thing I love about this space is that I think everybody's becoming more financially aware, right? And I think that's a good thing, So I really appreciate you being the first guest on the SoftRex podcast.
International guest.
Well, thank you. I feel very honored to be a guest, and thank you. I appreciate you guys helping me through this process. And I know in the future I'll probably have more questions too, but I appreciate you guys getting me to my first step and guiding me into getting my first steps. My foot through the door, kind of. I don't know. Since this is on you, I don't even know how you were worded when it comes to this, but I appreciate your help and thank you so much for the information and showing me everything, like where I can go find it, because I think that's where it gets sometimes difficult for me to go. I don't have time to go squirming the whole internet trying to find this information. I mean, I know it's out there, but then also you have to worry about what information is valid. So, so this makes it nice that I can find it in one little area for, that helps me out, especially me and the mommy. So I don't have that much time to sit in front of the computer. So I do appreciate it.
Yeah, and a quick note for our subscribers: make sure that if you see anything in the comments asking you for money, saying that we have a telephone number or our Instagram to call you there or to do whatever, always remember we will never ask you for your email. We will never give you our telephone numbers or anything like that. So more likely, it's potential scam. So don't fall for that. Pretty much that will be it. Don't forget to subscribe. Smash the like button. How do I say it? Smash the like button.
Yep.
Turn on
notifications
and definitely keep. That's right. And pretty much it from my point of view. What about you, Ronald? You got anything else for the community out there?
Thank you, Kathy, so much for your time. Thank you for waking up just a little bit earlier for us. And
thank you, and I'll send y'all some love.
Yeah,
that's right.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.
Take care.
You too. Bye. Have a good night.
Good night. Yeah, good night, right, for us.
Good
day for you.
Yes, bye.
I love you.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
All right. You still there?
Yeah. It's showing us recording still?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Okay. Good.
So how did you think the interview went?
I think it went well. Yeah. A little bit rough in certain areas, and obviously, like if we would have wrote maybe some steps, it would be fine. But I think that's fine. Because at the end of the day, this is who we are,
Right.
We try
I mean,
not to
it was
plan
raw. Yeah, it was raw, authentic.
Yeah. That's right.
Honestly, like if you think about if you really have a newbie on, it's not gonna be smooth because the questions are so much; they're all over the place,
Yeah.
And there's so many ways we could answer certain questions, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the thing that's most exciting for me is just like how many people are getting excited about this space this early. Like think about all the people that got excited about Apple when they were a big company,
Oh, yeah.
And here people are getting excited when it's so much more earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe a handful of companies are invested in it, right? So you're still like the average person is still getting ahead of the big companies that have to wait, for different reasons or choosing to wait for different reasons. So
no, I mean, you're 100% correct. I was looking at CoinDesk right now. I mean, I know that you're the host right now, but if you go to CoinDesk real quickly.
Yeah.
And
you want me to share a screen?
Yeah, I mean, either way. Unless
or
you're
make
already
you
there.
host.
Either way, go ahead.
All right. I'll just share my screen and you tell me where to go.
Okay, you go to coindesk.com. And you should be able to see right the first picture that comes out, you see JP Morgan. The picture of JP Morgan guy. Yeah, that right there. See, this to me is actually what that's good and exciting for the people there. If you read the title of it, JP Morgan to let clients invest in Bitcoin fund for first time. Now, of course, sources says whatever, but who knows? But there's a lot of stuff going on out there because they don't want to, left behind. Period. So that's the excitement to me that I think, eventually when we start sharing these little bits and pieces with the community out there at the beginning or whatever podcast we do, whether it is housing, relationship, flowers, whatever you name it, as long as we keep putting that in people's mind, hopefully that will click. Because I think it's important to know that, like you say, it's really here to stay. And I know it's going to be a lot of raw spaces. I mean, period. At the end of the day, it will be, nothing is, it's not going to be easy. Just like that podcast that we were watching the other day that I was ready to start boxing with you about it when I listened to it. Not to deviate too much.
We can go for round 2 right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because the one point that he made, and to me, I'm going to jump from what we're talking about.
He? Who's he? Who made the point?
Not Mike Saylor, but the other guy, Frank.
Oh, okay, yeah, Frank. We'll put the name. We'll put the name. Frank Goose. Yeah.
Bitcoin versus gold. One thing that he said, and if he didn't say, I watched some of the episodes of that channel. Prior to that event, they interview Mr. Wonderful, and they interview another guy, and they both both like Bitcoin and even Mr. Wonderful still likes gold and still gonna hold gold. But one of the ones, and I think maybe it was Frank, the guy going against Michael Saylor or the other guy, this is what he says. And to me, it's always not. I know that we're moving forward, but it's always that 1%. And one of the things that he says is like, if the government really wants it, and the government feels really threatened by this cryptocurrency of Bitcoin, right, as a digital gold or store of value, they can do exactly. They can make it illegal, just like they did in what I call it in Turkey. So if all governments decide to make it illegal, it's going to go back to the way it was before, the underground.
Governments are horrible in trying to kill anything. Just look at alcohol. Look at weed. Right. Like, they're horrible. And right now, as much as people say, like, you know, we're living in times where people are, you know, weak. You know, they complain about everything, all that stuff. There's strength in that. And if they try to ban that, there will be a revolution.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Because now you're gonna have people like me. You're gonna be people like me who never go on the street to riot. I will riot. I will riot.
I was going to say that to you.
And the thing is, now you're gonna have smart people rioting. Now you're gonna have smart people right. In the beginning, it was always.
I'm building my tools. with the copper plumbing that I used to do from my house, and I replaced it with PEX. I got tools like crazy right here already, but
yeah, you can't take away freedom from people like that. Yeah. And I think, you know, maybe they'll try in different ways, right? But at the end of the day, governments would have to come together, do it at the exact same time, and choose to never open up the internet ever again. Because because the minute you turn on the internet, Bitcoin is there again. This whole network is there again.
Right.
And then the second thing is when they banned it gold, as successful as that ban was, only 50% of the gold was actually turned in.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Not everybody turned it in regardless, yeah.
Right. And when it opened back up to make it legal for people to hold gold in the US, a flood of gold came back from overseas. So I think that's a perfect pregame so the public knows, and our few but very loyal subscribers are ready for the next debate. Because I don't care what news comes up, what topic comes up, what idea we have, we're debating this Bitcoin versus gold or Bitcoin versus whatever you want. And I'm ready for you on podcast number 5. Podcast number 5. It's going to be this.
Like, you took my thunder from yesterday. I was ready yesterday. You know, I was ready yesterday about whatever that thing for many reasons. And I was not only that, actually, yesterday.
Emotionally driven.
Yesterday was an emotional driven, not only emotional driven, because if I sit down and I go back, like you said before, write down your points so I don't forget.
Yeah, as I said, I think we should have an exciting debate, but it should also come with some valid points, because let's just face it, I'm in a different weight class.
I know. Yeah, you lightweight, I'm a heavyweight. So
yeah,
I say.
Are you happy? That's right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, but we're not going to be 100%. But one of the things, it's not that they're going to let's figure out, not that they, let's say, would take it away. Is that it's always like, just put it this way, just when Biden alone, the rumor of taxing it higher. There's a new rumor. I think if you watch one of those videos, Dan, I think the other day, he said there was a rumor that also, you know, the Biden taxing it at a higher rate. So just by the fact that something can be taxed, or something that the government can increase your capital gains in a certain way, or they just say the crypto is going to be taxed at a 50% or 80%. That right there alone is possible, you know. But
you know what that could do though. You're implying that hurts the price of crypto. I actually say that helps.
Yeah, it will. Now I have my passport ready because I think I can. It will be, what I'm saying. My passport is always ready because here it might be, taxed at a different level. But another, I might go to Korea.
Well, the worst thing is that it makes it makes it where the average person is going to get hurt, right? Because if you're wealthy, you just go to Puerto Rico, and if prices are going sky high, well, then you can afford it anyways, right? But the little person that owns a little bit of Bitcoin, they're gonna pay the tax that they have to sell it, right? And even with confiscations, you get scared. Yeah. So, like I said, I think it's a good debate. It's a good debate. Don't make this a long podcast. This is a preview to your, to your butt whooping.
It's gonna be no bad way because remember yesterday the heated conversation was gonna be also on profit taking, bear markets, and all kinds of different things.
I even text my people close to me, like, "Hey, don't distract me. I'm ready. I'm gonna be arguing with my dad on podcast because I thought it was gonna be number 4, and then we ended up, doing a long pre-podcast."
Well, yesterday?
Yeah.
The other day. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that we kind of like that was a little bit weird.
Yeah, but no, look, I'm ready to go when you are. But I think that's definitely podcast number 5. I don't care what the world would have to be burning for us to not talk about this on episode number 5. So I mean that's my piece. I'm good. I got this for the thumbnail. Number 5. Whoo!
You may not be number 5. That's what I'm going to tell you.
You'll be like this.
We'll see. There's always 2 sides of the coin. You have to remember that, right?
There is. I mean, it's game theory at the end of the day, but yeah, it's time to retire the piece of rock that people think is valuable.
Yeah. All I know, whoever don't think is valuable, make sure that you give it to me. That's what I'm saying. Whatever you think is now valuable, give it to me. But but definitely we need to talk about that. And other subjects that I'm really interested to move forward. We're always going to talk about, crypto at the beginning or in relation to money because obviously, we are in it. I'm in it, and I think still a lot of interest.
And it's hot right now. Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Yeah.
Right. But definitely, there's a lot of things that I have in my mind, that we had talked before, and I think probably we need to start bringing it to the surface. Some of them that we touched the other day, it was being a minimalist.
Yeah.
Right. And
you think
that
I'm
would be a
extreme?
not debate because
You think I'm extreme?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. I'm with you in that one. Might not be a debatable, but we're going to bring our own points of view because I'm with you in the minimalist. Now, I'm not going to turn around my computer and show you everything. Like Kathy, remember the other day, Kathy? Yesterday we were talking about the other day, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I like minimalist. I'm a minimalist." And I said, "Kathy, can you show us with your camera what you mean by minimalist? Show us what you have." And she's like, "No." That was so funny because I'm a minimalist, and I know that she has a lot of junk accumulated, and we do accumulate that. But that would be a great subject because whether it is debatable, now it doesn't matter. It's just a subject. Because I know that there are people that to them means something and to others means something else. And what can be achieved? Because you can be a millionaire and still be a minimalist, in my opinion, right?
Well, I mean that's the trend of the new millionaire is minimalist, and at the end of the day, I think the American dream is changing, right? I think it used to be, 2.5 kids. 2 cars, nice house.
I don't know where you can go get 2.5.
And a white picket fence. That was the American dream, and I don't think that's the American dream for most people anymore.
It sounds to me that you're trying to prepare for another episode where we want to talk about renting versus owning homes. I'm assuming that's what you mean.
Home ownership versus renting, which one is the biggest wealth killer?
Yeah, sure. I'm for the American dream still. Maybe not in that same way, but it's still ownership.
Yeah, you can own that American dream. That's not mine anymore.
Yeah, well, we got the podcast coming in. I got that one on my mind too that we've been talking about for a little while, for a long time actually.
Well, look, we're coming on a minute 47, and this is how we make our normal phone calls go 4 hours by doing this. We linger, we do little jabs, and then before you know it, one person hits someone in the jaw nicely, and then we're off to the races again for another 2-hour conversation. So I know the fam is excited if they're listening and they made it this far. I don't know what that is. Is that a little flower?
The light. See the
What
light?
is that?
I don't know. Maybe the light. See the light doesn't show.
Yeah, what is it? I can't see it.
The flower. I got your flowers.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of, we're making boring subjects very interesting, at least for us, and hopefully the audience sees that and they catches on, right? But I'm ready. So we're already, I know we're kind of long. This is our longest podcast. We just made it longer, right? So I'm going to say goodnight to you, and I love you. And I hope you're ready for the debate on podcast number 5 that is set to take place on Friday. So how are you going to open up? That's all I'm going to say is hopefully you prepare. SoftwareX fam, I love you. I'm saying bye to my dad because we will stay here forever. Good night.
Just don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. Let's move forward. Have a good one. Good night.
Health before wealth. Bye.
There you go. Bye.